the gallery. But do we have any other guests joining us today?
I have my daughter Renata, who is my sidekick.
I
didn't know I was coming. Sorry. I dragged her by the hair.
Welcome. Well, thank you for coming today to get us straightened out.
She's determined to make sure the screen is right.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
With that, I don't want to hold anybody up from getting a meal. So please, our guests first, two ladies. Please be first in line. And all other club member ladies to follow with the gentleman after that. After
Hey,
my
Ken.
presentation, a few other announcements.
Mark Clark, Reggie Widgeon, and Dave Kaplan.
Is that a quiz or what?
No, just turn around.
Oh. I learned.
What's that? Reggie Widgeon and Dave Kaplan.
So like I said, I did the online, looking at my talk.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Don't stand in front of the thing, well, I see.
We see your back. We got your back.
Look, life isn't perfect, Ken. Or you guys can sit down.
In the meal line.
Why wait when you can just sit around?
No, good to go. There you go. No, we're gonna leave. Hey, how's it going? You getting your badge yet?
We've got high tech all over the place.
We'll be out there.
You're gonna sit there? And yeah, you got two seats here. Okay. So are you happy with the screen?
Yeah, so
We
I'm
have-
gonna
we-
finish fixing it.
Okay,
Yeah.
we haven't used that
Oh.
in 2.5 years.
Well,
Since
of
COVID.
course.
And then when we used it, we always were fumbling around. I'm amazed, we went through 3 connections.
I know.
And the signal still got through. Oh, I can lower the camera a little bit.
No, that's okay. I just have to, there's little knobs, but I'll do it once everybody.
You can do all that?
Yeah.
Okay, fine. Because we Zoom our meeting as well. If you look up there. So you're going to be recorded.
Oh, I am? Oh, gosh. Do I just put some of these at each table? Yes.
Yes, I'll do that for you while you eat. How many?
Well, just a few. Do they worry the same? Yeah.
Jackie's doing voting duty today, so she's a Rotarian now.
Oh, yes. Oh, okay. I noticed that there aren't that many ladies.
We've got about 8 ladies now. You should consider us if you think we're fun people.
Yeah.
Most of us are. This is the funniest guy.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I know. Well, I got rooted out of the game.
Well, I was disappointed that you were here, sorry. I think we're gonna see what you get from out. It's quite much.
Yeah, you know.
Did you miss, maybe you sit there the person that you made. 2, and I said 3.
Sorry, I'm so sorry. But my friend, I'm sitting there at my desk. It's about 11 o'clock. So, will you take me to the hospital?
Oh, no, you have to go.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, turns out she has. She still has urinary infection.
I hope everybody has their costume.
And what happens when you wouldn't find yourself
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay. I thought this was a trendy guy.
She is so sick. Yes. So.
Oh, you poor guy.
Why didn't you call 911?
Yeah.
But sorry, I said, you know, I'll pull over and call Tom about but they put her on IV. It was a day shot. She didn't get home. And when this they had about
Yeah, well.
while we were there, 7 ambulance. Nothing experiential. So yeah, I was rolling in.
Oh. Maybe they need to come to the other door.
Oh, good. I see he's eating potatoes.
You guys eat like birds. See, that's the way you. That's the way you eat. Who's coming in?
You're eating like rabbits over there.
We had a sort of a late breakfast.
Oh, you did.
We saw you go into each door. We're like, oh, no, I wasn't even.
But are you hungry?
No,
You sure?
I'm okay.
You're sure?
But thank you.
Absolutely. Okay.
So I have my entourage here.
Genuinely. I'm Jim Rich. I am not yet the president, but will be shortly.
That's
He
incredible.
can't wait.
Please,
I hope it's okay to
please be our.
invite myself here. I just wanted to see her
I have my little.
presentation.
Absolutely.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
That's some lens.
Yes.
You could kill with that lens.
Wow.
If you
What-
need any
what-
good photos today.
What power is it?
This is a telephoto lens, so it's 135 millimeters is the ultimate
Yeah.
focal range. So it's a little, probably not good for this setting, but it's good for like portraits at a distance, maybe someone was standing outside there, or
Oh,
a
you
little bit
se-
of wildlife photography,
seem to be well prepared.
just in
So you're
case.
gonna take some pictures of
Okay.
Clay here today?
Yeah.
So,
I know in general,
And,
right?
and everyone, if you need me to take any photos.
okay, you're good, Paul.
It would have been.
I told him.
So, for those of you who don't know, I've been sort of taking a weekly COVID report for about the past 2 years. I thought I was finished, but the reason there's a new report this week is that last week Virginia Beach turned red. The CDC rates every place as low risk, which is green, medium risk, which is yellow, or high risk, which is red. And it's a complicated sort of formula that they use. But Virginia Beach tipped over into the red range. And what that means practically is that if you want to follow the CDC guidance, and if you're going into a area with that's red, if you're going indoors in a public space, you should be wearing a face mask regardless of your vaccination status. And now the Eastern Shore, both counties, Eastern Shore is still green, so people can go about their business and do what they want. But if you go over to Virginia Beach and go inside any place, please wear a mask. Oh, secondly, I wanted to say that I'm going to be sending as treasurer our contributions to the Rotary Foundation for the second half of this fiscal year, which ends at the end of this month. I've got to get that in before the end of the month. And if you've still not made your Rotary Foundation, paid your dues with the Rotary Foundation contribution yet, for this quarter, you need to get that to me within the next couple of days. Actually, I'm going out of town again today. I'll be back Thursday. And so I probably won't get this finished till this weekend. So if you put it in the mail, I will get it in time, but it needs to go in the mail like today. So otherwise, if it's late beyond that, it'll go into next year, into the next fiscal year. All right, thank you.
Okay, we have applications for 2 new members. Actually, they're returning members. They were members before. Holly Carpenter and Catherine, better known as Katie Nunez, will be rejoining the club pending approval by the entire club. So for right now, 1 week from now, we'll take any questions or concerns that any members have about either Holly or Katie. And we'll hear you out, answer any questions, but otherwise, if we don't hear anything from the membership on July 1, when we meet over at the rescue squad to make the crab cake, they will become members and that'll be announced on that day. So we're on the 1 week and actually 2-day notice. Talking about meetings, no membership meetings at the Cape Charles Brewing Company next Tuesday. Instead, the next day, Wednesday evening, we're going to have an evening meeting at the Coach House in Bay Creek. And that'll start at 5:30 in the evening, late afternoon. And we'll go to what, about 8:30 or something?
9.
9, okay. And dress is still casual, but you know, don't come in with bathing suits and things like that.
It is cash bar.
Yeah, cash bar at 5:30, and then I think 6 o'clock is when we'll get into the meal. And the meal is
Italian buffet.
yeah.
Whoa.
During the meeting, it costs you $5.
All right, and
Not you. You
Yes, sir.
so you
No,
don't-
you're.
Oh, it is off.
You're good.
And on July 1, that's actually beginning of the next fiscal year, we're
That's a
gonna
good
get
one.
together at the rescue station in Cheriton, and we're gonna make some crab cakes. So we're getting back into the routine pre-COVID, and it's a good time. We have a lot of fun doing that. For the new members, I want John, who's sort of running the show over there, to give you a rundown on that and answer any questions you may have as new members. But real simple, it's going to start at 9 o'clock. If you're a new member and you've never done this, just show up, sign up, show up, and we'll show you what to do. It's real simple. It's as simple as that, and I guarantee you'll have a good time. And you get a lunch out. Go ahead, John.
So, as of today, I'm starting a clipboard over here. So please, as you go through, confirm what, you don't have to say anything, but it needs to be changed as to how many people are coming, volunteers and so on, and how many crab cakes you sold, just right on the spreadsheet, and I'll clean it up. But before any changes today, we have sold 1,230 crab cakes. Wow.
Great.
And I think 1602. My trophy is Crab Cake King, which I actually lost a couple of years ago, but couldn't find the trophy, so I never gave it up. I think my office and Payne is way out front. He sold 390 crab cakes.
More than that even.
More than that, he said. Okay. So Paul is ever the warrior. Paul
But you
is
can
our
keep the trophy.
and Paul sold 2. He usually sells about 200. Sold 2. So if we don't make the goal, it's all on.
I just haven't got my numbers to you.
Okay, and I think seriously, we're only 372 away, so I think that's going to be easy enough to make. Everybody's been asking, everybody needs to know, we'll order the crab meat next Tuesday. It gets delivered here on Thursday. We'll have it there on Friday morning. Stanley's going to be in charge of the operation. I'm in charge of the packing, so I get the end of that. Diane, I think, is online. No, she's not today. She's going to help me with the packing. She wants to be a little separate from the crowd.
Really?
Well, I'm gonna let her do the labels, so people actually read their names. That'll be good.
What, you gonna do that in the next county or?
She's gonna do, I separate myself anyway, so, any questions about, You be there, we'll give you a job.
No, I'm just question, I'm here, if the list is right, you just check it off.
Or
you
no,
don't do it.
or nothing, just check, just anything needs to be changed.
The only thing that needs to be changed.
Right,
Thank
right.
you.
Sure. And that
You're
would,
right, all right.
that would include phone numbers and anything else if it's wrong. Okay, so just to give you a real quick on the process for those who've not done this before, when you first show up, we get the crab meat in little pint or half pint cups. You pick it. We've been told repeatedly now, don't kill it because it's already been picked once. Don't mash it up, kind of keep it low. We've got the portions are two lump and one crab claw. We've used the same formula for years. You have to vote Katie and Holly in because they're both going to be there helping you make crab cakes. So it would be real bad form to say when they show up, they're not going to be here. For anybody that has objection, it's not going to be heard as far as that.
They're both of them are well trained.
Yeah,
We have at the moment 36 people signed up to help.
oh, it's great.
And for the first time, except for Payne and myself, we have no children. We have mostly adults, I think. So that'll be good. Wait a minute.
Where are they?
We have Ken. Okay. So the more people we have, the quicker we're now. But one question that keeps coming up for the new people: how do we get our crab cakes to your own people? It's on you, okay? Because you can have them come to the rescue squad, but please don't have them come at 11:30 or 12 o'clock because we may or may not be done.
1 o'clock.
Yeah, we said 1 o'clock. We'll be done probably well in advance of that. But what you'll probably wind up doing, you'll be ready to leave before 1 o'clock and you want to just take them home or whatever. So like, I think I still have, one year I sold 480 some crab cakes. Bill may beat that this year for the all-time record. We can take care of that. You can take care of your 2 or 4, 8 or 10. So if you're not going to be there and you sold crab cakes, get another member to take care of yours and make sure that he or she gets them or takes them somewhere your people can find them. Okay, because it's very disruptive. What we try to do when we're packing them, we just have a list with everybody's name on it and how many trays they saw. All the trays are the same. They all have a lid on top. They're wrapped. They're sturdy. They can be frozen just as they are. They're easy to carry. If you have a bunch to take, you want to bring a cooler for your stuff if you're going to take them and keep them for a while. Anything else? Any other questions about how it's going to work?
Well, the one thing, we are selling them online, so people are using payment.
Mr. Rich is going to take care of that. Those are his. He is in charge of it online. In case you didn't know that, you are. So he sold, I think he said 7 online, right?
Yes, we have 5 orders for 7 turns.
Okay.
Yeah. So
That's good, for
So
sure.
he'll take care, just like that. We don't know where they can be from anywhere, but obviously if somebody out of the market, you're gonna have to freeze them and meet them some other time, but they freeze very well. I will tell you, if you haven't done this before too, I suggest to lots of people, before you freeze them, you might want to make them into smaller, like balls or something, because one of the things that's really kind of hard to deal with is you have all your family in, they take one bite out of a crab cake and throw it away. Now you might shoot them for that. You can do that too. Maybe a simpler method is to break some of them down into smaller bite-sized portions so you can give them to kids and adults that won't waste. But these are really good. We've never had any blowback about these things. We've been making them now for 15 years. They used to make them and sell them. Now, here was the alternative. If you don't like this exercise, they used to make them down on Bay Avenue on the 4th of July. They actually cooked them. And in the Rotaries, we usually lose 1 or 2 every year. They're old people, they fall down. So Scott Schreiber and my wife Celia got the right idea. That wasn't going well because we're really hard to do. So they started this little packing thing. The first year we sold 100, 200, and the last 5 or 6 times we sold 1,500, 1,600 crab cakes. So, and we can do it. It's not a problem.
Yeah. Now, it starts at 9, but it's okay to be there early. The people that are organizing this, we're usually there about 8:30 to get the tables set up and so forth. So if you want.
Stan and I will be there at 8:30, right, Stan?
Yeah. If you want to show up at 8:30, give us a hand setting up the tables and carrying the supplies into the facility, you're welcome to show up. But otherwise, we're going to start the actual production around 9 o'clock.
Yeah. So, and as I said before, come to Lucy, but there'll be a kind of a lull while people are picking the meat, then it starts getting mixed, and it starts getting formed, and it picks up and it goes like crazy after that. So the beginning's kind of slow where you're picking on the meat, but after that it goes really fast, relatively speaking. Like that.
And we do have lunch, usually around noon time, right? We're finishing up the last of the getting the stacks organized with all the prepared crab cakes, and we do group them together. for each person. And so by that time, we're winding down, ordering lunch, and then around 1 o'clock, as John said, people start showing up to pick up their orders. So we're there for a while, even when we're done with the actual crab cake preparation.
How late typically are you?
We're usually out there by 1:30 sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, one's a good comfortable number lately, although we got new people out. It's, it's not gonna be a problem. Honestly, I mean, Paul, you've done this last time. We can, once they get in there and get this going, it's,
Oh, yeah.
It goes.
if I can be trained, anybody can be trained. It's not a problem. Other questions?
Any more questions for John?
Don't
Okay,
forget to mark the spreadsheet with any updates that need to be made, please.
so again, if you're new at this and it's the first time you're gonna be there, just show up and we'll work with you to fill in some slots for these. Plenty of people there to show you what to do. It's not rocket science. Okay, thanks, John.
Sure.
Do we have any other updates anyone wants to bring up to the club? All right, and why don't we sneak into happy dollars then? People happy? John?
While I'm up here, I wore this shirt today for two reasons. For those of you that aren't aware, West Virginia became a state on June the 20th, 1863. It's 159 years old. And I also wore it because Bill Murphy and I had this kind of weird bet where the loser has to wear the other person's shirt. Last year, our West Virginia beat Tech. It's like Tech, what is it? It's Virginia Tech, that's it.
Exactly, yeah.
And I bought him a nice shirt, but my budget's a little tight this year, so I'm wearing this shirt I'm going to give him. And he's got 90 days to lose a lot of weight so he can get in. And that's it.
That hurts. All right. So.
Rebuttal.
in keeping with that, I was gonna be quiet, but I've got another 5 because I have a Virginia Tech shirt that I don't usually wear out in public, but I'm gonna make sure that I give that to him come September 19th. And so he's gonna have to bulk up a little bit. Anyway, so I've got 5 happy.
He'll get a W. So
Yeah.
for those who don't know, 1863, that was during the height of the Civil War. And West Virginia was obviously a big part of Virginia. It was all one great big state. So how it became a state back in the Union was they actually succeeded from the Confederacy. So it wasn't everybody succeeded from the Union. In the case of West Virginia, it was the opposite. They succeeded from the Confederacy and entered the Union as part of the United States. So it's an interesting twist in the history. Any other happy dollars?
Yes,
Bill?
I have 10 happy dollars because I'm delighted the way John has taken the leadership role in pulling the crab cakes together.
Yeah.
Thank you for the sale. That's what counts out.
Any other happy dollars? Okay, and I mentioned last week that I'm a Marylander, so I'm an aficionado of crab cakes, and I always thought Maryland crab cakes were the best. But I'm willing to say there's a tie. Virginia crab cakes are just as good as Maryland. A little bit different, but just as good. All right. We have a guest speaker today, and it's a lady I've been looking forward to hearing since I've been a member of the Rotary Club. And it's Clelia Shepherd, and she's also owner of the Lemon Tree, right? Your owner?
Yes.
Okay, and she is an artist in her own right, and we're going to hear from Clelia, and hopefully you'll give us a little background on yourself as well as your art and your business.
Well, thank you so much to Maggie for having invited me to come here.
Before you start, though, I want to get this set up. You might want to ask this to Jeff, because I think you might need to see my father after.
You'll be
Life could
staring
in your
right
eyes.
Whichever way you want.
I think you could be.
Just lay down on the floor, Alan.
Don't lean forward.
The flow is moving. Yeah.
So I am Clelia,
Right.
and thank you for inviting me as your guest speaker. Today I'm telling you the story of my life as an artist and how I fell in love with the Eastern Shore. We'll sit down. So I will begin by sharing excerpts from my artist statement. A certain elation drives me when I begin a painting. An aspect of an image, something in the way a figure is bent, the way the sky feels, triggers me. Each mark on the canvas is an impulsive response, a catalyst for the next, until I discover a sense of what it is exactly I am painting. The forms change, but the essence of what I seek remains the same, a sense of the purity in our world and in our beings, a sense that is too often obscured by different forms of blindness. Plein air work goes far beyond the portrayal of a subject. It sets the stage for me to infiltrate through stratas of emotions that are sparked by a mood or particular sensation the landscape is offering. So here is, I want to begin sharing. I want to actually have a little interaction with you because I chose this painting, which is one of my most recent paintings, and I just wanted to ask you all what it does to you. What I just want you to give me some feedback. You know, some adjectives. You don't have to go into long dissertations. Do you see hope in this painting?
I see relaxation.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's almost Monet-like with the colors, the muted soft colors and so forth. I've noticed some of your other paintings too have that Monet quality to them.
Thank you. Well, that's exactly what I want to tell you a little bit about why I did this and when I did it. It was very recent. And one of the things that I love the most about peonies is the fact that they last so little. They just really, you have to grasp them at a moment's notice. And I heard through the grapevine that on Strawberry Street in front of the little shop called Localish, which is a new gallery, there was a lady there with 2 or 3 buckets overflowing with the most incredible peonies. So I knew that she was going to be there on a Saturday morning. So I drove into town and I bought practically 2 or 3 buckets actually on the whole thing, brought them home, displayed them all over my living room. And I started painting them because I just wanted to grasp that moment. And it was a very hot day and I just wanted to be part of that field of peonies. And I did it very quickly and I knew when to stop, and there it is. Now this is another painting. I wish they were a little bit better, you know, clearer. But anyway, again, this is another mood, another ask from my audience today. What does that do to you? What do you see in that? Is there a difference in this painting from the one before? And what do you think? Is it crisp? Is it serene?
I'm not sure that's working.
Oh,
Should.
You don't, she doesn't need it, Mike.
Well, it might be better for
We got some
Yeah.
hard of hearing guys here.
okay. Is the energy tense or is it relaxed? Do the colors contrast one with another?
Now, are they sunflowers?
Yes,
Okay.
Is that water behind there?
Again, a little bit of a reminder.
it could be.
That's the action.
This is a more lively
It
thing.
reminds me a little bit of the sunflower painting by Van
Oh,
Gogh.
yeah. Of course, he's everybody's idol. For me, that painting started off with I just started painting it. I will confess that I was going through an anxious time. I was tense, I was anxious. You know how in life things kind of eat you up. And I think that when I see it now, I see what I did. I was entangled. I was definitely entangled. And the funny thing is that once I was painting this, I turned it on one side. And I much rather see it on this side, and it developed like these sunflowers are seeking their freedom. They're seeking their freedom.
Is that the figure in the middle? The entanglement is, I see a figure in the middle of that.
You know, you're right.
Yeah.
I could see it too now.
Yeah.
The
I didn't know if
beauty,
you
yeah,
read
the
it that
beauty
way or
is,
not.
is that I don't really, I very much like to paint driven rather than, and I can see that looking back now, I can see how I was feeling at that time. And this one is a completely different painting. And it's definitely peaceful, I would say. Any comments are welcome. If you don't have comments, I will tell you the story.
Stormy.
And this was not a plein air, but it's a memory. This is a memory of a recent trip to Italy. So I went about a year ago, and I went to Italy, and I went back, a very big mistake in a way, to my old haunts. And I didn't paint it right away. I thought about it a long time. When I came back, I painted it, and it was a very large painting. And yes, there's sadness, there's nostalgia, but there's also hope.
Do you take pictures of things like that, or you just remember?
No pictures.
The picture?
No, I don't believe very much in taking photographs and painting from a photograph. So here we go back a long time. So this is in Italy. I was born in Terni, which is in the middle of Italy in a region called Umbria. My art has always been a reflection of my life, the emotions, the events, the struggles, and the joy. So to invite you into my world as an artist, I must tell you my story, which began in Terni, in Umbria. I grew up with my older brother Patrick and my younger sister Louisa, with my mother and father who had met in England and married after World War II. My mother was a professional actress in London before she met my father, who was a doctor in metallurgy. They met in England and moved to Italy in 1949. My mother left a very promising acting career after she had graduated from the Royal Academy of Dramatic Art in London. Here she is right on the left of Richard Attenborough, who was her classmate. And I always like to say this little anecdote is that he really was very much in love with my mother.
Really?
But my mother wasn't really particularly in love with him at all. And one thing she told me, she said, he really got on my nerves because every time he wanted to express something that was a little dramatic on stage, his nostrils would quiver. Got on their nerves, especially if they were in a close sort of kissing situation. This is my mother just before going on stage in one of her leads that she was cast in London, I think as Emily Bronte. These are some headshots of her. This is a headshot of one of my favorites that was used obviously to promote her. Now, does she remind you of anybody in this photograph?
It's like you a bit.
Oh, no. Actually, she was actually asked to be Vivian Lee's understudy But she was in a very important role at the time, and she didn't want to let go of that role. And she declined it, which we all, as kids, always remember hearing this story and saying, oh, darn, why didn't you do it? Maybe we wouldn't have been here though. I started painting at the age of 13 with my first oils, with an oil box that belonged to my mother, which she then gave me. I went to an English school in Rome. I used to commute 2 hours each way from Terni to attend St. George's British International School, and in the city where I learned how to be a citizen of the world. And I think that's what my father and mother wanted us kids to be able to be very open-minded, since we had students represented from every nation in the world. This is the famous box. I still have it, and I still lug it around with me everywhere I go. And that box is like, oh, well over 50 years old. After graduating from high school, I enrolled in the Accademia delle Belle Arti in Rome, and I followed with a degree in scenic design and interior decorating. This is my degree. In my happy place painting in Monte San Biagio, I don't even have an easel, if you notice. That's how I used to paint. I used to just grab the easel, the paints, and some oils as a medium. And I love to paint organically and on the spur of the moment, with no equipment. Plein air painting was more common in Europe than it was in the United States at that time. Plein air is when you go and paint on the spot, alla prima, and you usually paint and then you don't touch it again. You never go back to it. That's what I love about it. You have to be very decided as a person, as a character, and then just go ahead. I started exhibiting as well in my early, I was about probably 18, 19 when I started exhibiting in every possible place I could. Here you see me painting because I used to travel and paint all over Europe mostly. This is me in Spain in a little village called Chilches. And I was surrounded by all the kids. You don't see them here, but they were all looking at me. This is one of my first little exhibits, and I'm here in Spadlonga, Italy. I started winning some awards. I got recognized with some of those extemporaneous exhibitions that they have there. And here I was with my siblings, my sister and my brother. In 1975, I was very honored to be asked to paint a 10 by 20 fresco on the walls of this cathedral, San Salvatore in Terracina, Italy. I don't have the actual image. For some reason, I could not find it for the life of me. It was the Annunciation, which was an important thing for me to do due to my Catholic upbringing. In 1979, my sister Louise and I were invited to participate in a national program called Portobello Market, which was featured on national television. Now you have to remember there were only 2 channels in Italy at the time. So that was a very well watched show. And this show, we were bargaining our little bonsai trees because we were looking for a large 60-foot fishing boat that we had the idea of making into a gallery. My sister and I featured our porcelain and our art and our ceramics in this as a first gallery that we ever did together. So we became pretty famous for about 2 or 3 hours. Everywhere we went, people were saying, oh, look, there go the Portobello sisters. It was fun. This is the old boat that we did get. We did find it, and we have to exchange those with our precious bonsai trees. And this is when they were transporting it into the backyard, into the front yard of our parents' home on the Tyrrhenian Sea. That was between Rome and Naples. These are examples of the china and the artwork. that we would show. So we had a variety of things that we would be doing. This is my sister and I, and at the same time, we had a lovely little shop in a most ancient part of the town of Hiroshima. The place that is indicated there on the right, these were, I mean, like 500-600-year-old places. So it was kind of fun to be there, as well as the big boat. This is the fishing boat finished. It took us about a year to get it completely renovated. I seem to have a propensity for renovating things. But anyway, so this is it. It was beautiful, and everybody from all over Italy would come to check it out. And we called it St. Patrick because unfortunately we lost our brother Patrick in an accident just around that same time. And this had a tremendous impact on my art, on my life, and it really did traumatize our whole family. This is a studio painting. My inspiration shifted after the loss of Patrick. Solitary desolation was an undercurrent. Painting became a way to process my emotions surrounding the loss of my brother. The silver lining in after so many difficult times, and after the loss of my brother, was meeting my husband, John, who was stationed in Gaeta in the Navy. We got married, Gaeta, 1980. And then here I come. Here I come to the United States. I continued painting, and these are a few older paintings that reflect the nostalgia of my life in Italy and the mix of sadness from losing my brother and leaving my country with a hope of a new life in the United States and the birth of my children. Our first stop was Pittsburgh, 1983 to 1986. A bit harsh from the Mediterranean climate. But I did like Pittsburgh. The people were just lovely. A lot of Italians and Polish and Irish people. And I found a lot of wonderful friends there. But you can see that my painting went through a rather sort of moody phase. Then we went to San Francisco to live, 1986 to 1989. That was a new adventure as well. And I must tell you that I really like living in California. I fought really hard to stay there. But my husband's career brought him back. But in those years, brought it back to the East Coast. But I really wanted to stay. But these are some of the paintings that I did in that phase of my life. This is Mother Earth, by the way. She's obviously suffering. These are rather more abstract in a way. I use the palette knife a lot. And these are like, you can see the industrial feel and the feeling of wanting to go out into the freedom of the skies. Let me out. But again, it's a bit of a phase where I was leaning towards some more abstract, some more complex thoughts. Then we came to Virginia Beach, 1989, 1994. And there I was, I felt suddenly very happy because there was the coast, the beach, the color. This is a painting that got some awards. I participated in Neptune Festival, the Boardwalk, Stockley Gardens. I exhibited, started going all over the place again. I used to also paint on denim jackets to make some money, and those sold well. This is an example of the back of one of my denim jackets. I was also commissioned, there was a big thing about the mermaids in Norfolk. And I was so happy because I threw some little sketches together, and I got 4 of the commissions.
Oh,
This one was from the Bank of America. And I believe this is the same one that is sitting on Strawberry Street that has been repainted. While I was in Virginia Beach, as you see, I started to gain some more color, some more, I don't know, maybe I was settling down really well. And I used to go around Virginia in different places. This is in Richmond, Virginia. I was fascinated by the water and all the flowing of the river. My Virginia Beach era, I had my 4 true masterpieces. Started them at least. They are certainly works in progress. And luckily, it's not my real job to finish them. Sorry. So then we moved to Cape Charles. I had so much material and inspiration here, and I began painting profusely. This is Magotha, one of my very first paintings here. I was very fascinated by all those kind of ruins, and one of them said, "No trespassing," one of those rocks. I like that. So here I am. This is a sort of a still life inspired in front of the sunken ships. Kiptopeke Beach. An entrance. A field. One of the sunsets. So this painting really, I don't know why it's there, but this was painted in Hawaii. Just very recently, and it was moonlit. My parents moved here, of course, to be close to us. And when they moved in 1989, we did feel complete. And I wanted to find a way to bring the arts to the community, which at the time did not have a local organization or a space or much instruction. We connected with the Savage family, who enabled the purchase of the historic Palace Theatre through the 501c3 nonprofit that I had recently founded. Beginning in 1997, teaching and sharing the arts became a new expression of art for me. I still painted, but with growing teenagers and the responsibility of a nonprofit business, I poured myself into bringing the arts to others. But once an artist, always an artist, and I did still paint as I divided my time between these responsibilities. This was a big challenge to renovate the Palace Theatre. This is in its the original state when we were just trying to use that stage, which was very difficult to use for a performing arts. This was the condition of the chairs at the time. But when your husband is a doctor, the low-cost solution to artist smocks are surgical scrubs. So thank you, Sintara. So we started teaching and encouraging the kids to be as creative as they possibly could. So here they are painting the oil tank in the back of the theater. Here they're painting a mural with permission from our neighbor. Of course, fundraising is a big important part of any nonprofit. And this is one of the very first Benefit by the Bay and the first little crew that I gathered near me. And between grants and sponsors and work and begging and doing all kinds of things, we are able to do quite a bit to restore this old theater and to get the Lemon Tree going, which was inaugurated in 2016. My co-director and friend, Marianne Rain, is now the gallery manager and has been my partner in art crimes for the last 15 years. Together, we run the Lemon Tree Gallery and also the nonprofit Art Center Cape Charles. I hope you've all been to our Fridays at Lemon Tree at one point or another. We wanted to offer something regular and constant to bring the community together. I did continue to paint all over the world whenever I could. This is in Bogliasco, Italy. Chincoteague, Kauai, Assateague. This is Chincoteague. This is my dashend near my famous box of oil paints. One of the remote little creeks here on the shore. This is one of my favorites. It's a cotton field, but it's an abstract version. And this is one of another very, very favorite of mine. This is when we had those tall ships come to Cape Charles.
That's
And I
really
was so excited about it.
That was really intricate.
Yeah, this is a very, but yet I did it right there on the spot. And I didn't really, I don't like going back on my work unless it's a studio painting. So this is a plein air. This is the flight of pelicans near the ships. And this is when they're harvesting the famous sunflowers that I love so much. This was not far from here. They no longer harvest them, but at the time I planted myself right in the middle of the field and watched them. This was another wonderful moment when we had the tall ships. This is with the concrete, big concrete in the back. This must have been one of our, I think this was one of our events. I did plein air then. This is definitely abstract. This was done on Hawaii. I think this one got an award. I don't talk much about all my awards because I hate doing that. You know, I hate to boast about, I got this, I got that. So but I did remember getting an award for that one. This was a painting that I'm particularly fond of because one of the biggest, most idyllic, wonderful plein air artists in the whole world called Quang Ho. I went to a workshop with him and others in France. And when we did a critique of the work, he had some very positive things to say about this painting that made me feel very empowered because he had actually hit the nail on the head and he struck my heart because he went right through to what I was exactly feeling. I can't repeat what he said because I would never be able to say it truthfully or correctly. But he had some very, very insightful comments about that. Another tall ship moment. Set up, now I have an easel, by the way. I don't sit on the floor anymore. Always fun to celebrate a painting at the Lemon Tree. I am now exploring my passion for theater, which of course I inherited from my mother and was inspired by her. And I learned everything from her. And I've been directing for these past 10 years or more. As my mother's health began to fade, I stepped into her role as a director for many of the plays produced at Art Center. The restored Palace Theatre today, very proud of that photo. This was during the Brass Symphony this past December when we finally were able to bring over 300 people in the theater. And this is Don't Dress for Dinner, opening tomorrow night again. So please don't miss this funny, funny play. It'll make you laugh.
You were good.
And this is the final slide. A very special thank you to my husband of 42 years, because he was behind me the whole time and he always supported every single idea. And financially, he also helped make it work, make it happen.
I noticed the painting of the mermaid, and then a few slides later, we saw the statue of the mermaid out in front of the Palace Theater. Your painting inspired that statue then, am I right?
Well, well, first of all, these mermaids were really only for Norfolk. So what happened was that people bought them, like for instance, Blue Heron bought, because they had an auction. So people bought the mermaids because I don't know why they decided that they were doing it for a fundraiser. So the one of Bank of America came here and it was in front of Blue Heron here first, and then they gave it back to us. So we put it in front of the theater, but then it was moved to the side.
Right.
And then because of the weather, you know, after so many years, it was beginning to look a little sad. So so two young girls painted it, and that's what you see now is but soon we will have to paint her again.
Yeah.
You know, that's life. You have to keep on restoring old things.
A question, would you call your style fast? Are you a fast painter?
I am a very decided painter because I think about things and I allow the mood to take me and then I give. That's how it works. And when I start doing it, of course, it's very,
So you're
It's-
moving pretty fast?
I'm moving fast.
Okay.
How about that tall ships painting? Was that fast? Because it's so intricate.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it depends. Sometimes I'll stay 2 hours in the place. Sometimes I'll stay 6, 7 hours. You know what I mean? It depends on how intricate the subject is.
Yeah.
But yes, usually, yeah, I'm pretty fast when it comes to that. I
Okay.
was trained in Italy where I didn't really go into it, but I was trained in a way that I had a teacher, for instance, that would take me and a few other kids, throw me in the middle of a piazza and say, paint it. And suddenly we have like 50 to 100 people watching every stroke you do. That's terrifying.
Yeah.
That's how you learn to overcome things when you're put in a situation where you go, either I do it or I don't. Either I look like an idiot or I do something good. So you're like, so the training I got was a lot of figure drawing, a lot of sketching. So we were drawing all the time. And so I think that I got confident with that. So when you throw me out, I don't use photos and stuff. I have to do it freehand. Yeah.
Do you see a photo sometime of a location you've never been before and you say, I'm gonna go over and look at that and see if I wanna paint it?
No, because it's not the subject matter that really gets me. It's more that moment, you know, like for
Okay.
instance, now this doesn't inspire me out there, but if you get the sun at sunset hitting the fields in a certain way with the shadows in a certain, then I start getting excited about it, you know.
Okay.
It's a question of, I think light and dark and the passing of the days has something to do with it. I'm not interested so much in a subject, but in a moment, you know, when you just get carried away about feeling, it might be even a combination of your own mood combined with the light that strikes, and then you have to just kind of go there and do it wherever you are. You just stop and do it.
I have seen painters here along the side roads, just, they whip out an easel, they pull it out in their car and they just stop and they
Yeah.
start painting. And it amazes me how fast they go.
They have to. This is the plein air movement that has taken the United States by a total, it's an avalanche, because when I first did plein airs here, people would say, what is that? What are you doing? But now in the last 15 to 20 years, plein air has become a major way of expressing and doing art. And it sells really well. People, you know, when they see you paint something, I've had times when people say, I want to buy it. And I'm like, but I'm painting still. I can't send you this painting. It's wet. You know? But yes, they love it. I think people really like the idea of seeing an artist paint.
Yeah,
They want it.
yeah.
And so, you know, I'd like to start a plein air here in Cape Charles because I think it would be amazingly successful. Now that Cape Charles is on the map, I think if I organize a big plein air where you get artists from all over the country coming.
Mhm.
I think, but you know why I'm not doing it? Because we don't have a hotel.
Yeah.
And I need that kind of structure here to be able to support. My daughter, Renata, is getting ready to do her 10th experimental film. That is a big, big event we do. It's the 10th year. She has people from all over the world coming, and we struggle to put them up. We rent houses, we give our houses, we beg, and my sisters keep having 3 people. You know, everybody helps, but if only we had a hotel somewhere nearby, you know, we could do so many more things that would bring the arts here. Because you have to put these people up. So I'm hoping that soon, you know, above the gallery, we're getting ready to renovate after 2 or 3 years of permitting. But we are getting ready to put 2 nice apartments that we hope that also the artists who come will have a nice place to stay really near the theater.
Yeah.
You see, that's the thing. You have to put people up and have them come here and enjoy this area. But without that structure, it's very hard to do.
Yeah. See. Does anybody have any more questions for Chloe?
I just want to say that we had the joy of hosting about 4 or 5 dancers
yeah.
about 10 years ago, and we still are in touch with all of them. I mean, it was a great, great time.
Yes, thank you. In fact,
Yeah.
John, that is something that in many art communities is very common, where people take in an artist or 2 during the time. And that is a very, very, I mean, amazingly supportive thing to do. Because it is really, I mean, if you think of the money that we spent for 2 weeks in a rental in July, it's like $10, $15, $20,000 in rentals.
Yeah.
So that's a big, big hurdle that we have to overcome. And I hope that you will all come to see the premieres of these films that will be fresh from the filmmakers.
I have the 30-second trailer pulled up on your computer.
You want to see it?
Yes.
Sure. I also want to thank my 2 daughters for helping me put this thing together. I'm not organized, so I have to fish out all these photos with great difficulty.
Wow.
So please mark your calendars and take a postcard.
Yes.
And tickets will be on sale at Lemon Tree and online through Facebook Eventbrite or at the door.
Well, Claudia, we really appreciate you stopping by today. Your artwork is just
Oh, thank you.
beyond words.
Thank you so much.
I've seen some of your work online too. I really love the landscapes of this area over here that you paint. And we really appreciate your art gallery here. And a couple times when my family comes down, I've taken them over there and I really enjoy I'd like to present you with our Rotary pen.
Oh, nice.
It's a small gift.
Yeah, it's
But-
very nice. I will always try and keep it in my bag.
Okay. As you click it, there's a little slide thing on there. It'll give you what we're gonna do, the four-way test. We have 4 lines. So as you click it, it scrolls through that. But thank you very much. And thank you for the work you do. And thank you for giving us an art gallery. Yeah. And thank you to your daughters for coming to do the technical work. on the
And my
side.
photographer daughter, she's probably taking some good photos today. She might like to give you and share with you so you can use them for your
Yeah.
future.
Yeah, thank you. Absolutely.
Now we have to disentangle all this mess.
Oh, we'll get that.
It's easier to untangle than it was to put it all together.
Right.
Okay, we'll get to that in just a minute, but if I could ask everyone to please stand, we'll close up the meeting and then we can start disassembling things. Of the things we think, do, and say.
Is it the truth?
Number 2.
Bear it serve.
Number 3.
Build better friendships.
And number 4.
Will it be beneficial?
And Stan, how about number 5 today?
Will we have fun?
Yes, we will. Don't forget to invite your friends, neighbors.
Hi, Jackie Chapman.
Yeah.
You know her son's a director?
Yes.
Okay. He was just in town here.
Oh, shoot.
Next opportunity, I'd like to meet him.
Yeah, I've met him briefly once. I would love to see him again, and now he has his wife.
Oh, yeah, and
I've been wanting to make a film.
he makes more money than God now.
I wanted to take time off to have fun and do an artist residency.
Yeah, okay, so,
But I've had some Hollywood people come through.
okay, so we'll have to do that next time.
Yeah, next time he's in town, maybe I can, I'd love to just see him again and meet his wife.
Are you here full time?
As of now, yes.
Okay, so
Yeah.
maybe we can arrange that.
Yeah.
I don't think he'll be back for a while with this little one.
Yeah, no, I'm sure that's hard to try.
Baby cried half the time because he was teething.
Oh, yeah.
So, but you know, we're happy to see him.
Of course. Yeah, yeah.
Well, I'll be sure to show up.
Yes, please do.
This will be my reminder.
Yes, take one.
Okay, and thank you for bailing me out over here.
We got it. We together.
Now, have you got all your stuff there?
So yeah, my mom's stuff is all. Audi.
The trick is.
They never give you a hand.
You need a hand with any of this?
No, I'm good. Yeah, just throw the bag in.
Yeah. Okay. I'll talk to you one day for about a half an hour.
Okay.
Just put a couple things by. I just want you to take on it.
Now, when you're leaving?
It won't be till the end of July.
Okay, let's make sure we
Oh,
do it.
yeah. we're gonna-
And if we don't put it on our calendar, we won't have.
Well, I'll tell you what, I know your calendar's a lot busier than mine. I'll tell you what I can do. If you want. I can just come by one afternoon.
There you go. Okay, okay.
So let me know.
This isn't a good week.
Oh, yeah. It's not a big deal.
Take care. This is a Republican primary.
Some Republicans too.
Sure, whose pen that is.
Where's now?
Yeah, I got, okay, thanks,
Is this
Dave.
your pen?
No, but,
Sitting there.
I'll take it.
Yes, sir.
There.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, she's gonna walk out. No, you were gonna walk out. I'm gonna grab all
Oh,
these.
thank you, Ken. He is so well behaved.
Is he?
Doggy.
We got two,
He's not even here.
cloud. Can't go in.
We all have a story.
I never realized that And you're still painting.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but I know you trained in techniques and things, but you're gifted. Take care now. Be good.
Tell Jackie I said hello.
I will. She's working at the polls today.
Oh.
But she's a member of Rotary now.
Oh, good.
Or she would be here.
You should get some young people.
That's our dream. You know, we're gonna have to pull the ambulance up at the door at our meetings. The average age of this crowd.
It's nice to vote. Oh.
Well, you know, it's. But in more metropolitan areas, they do have younger clubs.
It's such a nice addition.
Oh, yeah. We do good.
I know.
We
It's
do
nice
good.
to have.
Oh, yeah.
All we ask is that you buy our crab cakes.
Bad connection.
Well, I'm sure you did for somebody.
You used to buy so many. You used to crab cakes for the whole year.
I have a client that's bought 6 trays. And a couple that bought 4 trays. Because we didn't do it for about 2 years.
I know. We used to have them in our freezer the whole year. So anyway, this is it. I don't know
Take care.
anything else.
And if you've got something, we'll find it and get it. Ah, you mastered them. This way we won't have to bring it back and forth.
Yeah, she's a, says her past single. I'm on top of it. And I thought, you know, we would use it, but I don't know how, but she said it was one of the same thing. So I don't know. But I don't think it. You know, if those 2 daughters live locally? Yes. Yeah. Well, when you see the other one, the tall one, in the play, oh, you'll just be blown away with it. She's so good.
She's a model.
Huh?
Yeah. Former model, and she got a.
I'll bag that up, Chuck.
Not a fellowship, I think she might have done a fellowship or some diploma, whatever, there's more to that mind than
Yeah.
I ever imagined.
I was so surprised at these of them and the.
Well, the play bill for the play lists all the accomplishments what's on it.
How could it happen?
Oh, yeah.
Basically. That's a graduate. Getting them because they were checking. Right. You know, if you all get along with us, we get along with you. You can stay here as long as you want. For what? For nothing. Maybe one of our things is to have, they put something on.